destroy your opponent seems to rule the day. Compromise is a word they use a lot, but they don't practice it very much. You know, it's too important an issue to get wrong, and it's too big a debt. And most of this doesn't start for years into the future, as you probably know. So I guess I'm not going to be one of those people who would like to see it start over again. And maybe for right now, I think they should be focusing on jobs in the economy.
Thank you.
Hi. This economy is going to spit and sputter and be slow to come back. So to get this deficit under control, there has to be spending cuts. Now, where do you see spending cuts to be made at the federal level? Would it be something like pushing the Social Security retirement age up from 65 to 70, or would it be, you know, something along those lines?
You know, they've done that before, and it's out there. It's something that needs to be talked about. It's going to come to pass that everything's going to be on the table, a whole bunch of stuff. And I think that it's hard to be fair about something. All of us, I had expectations that if I got to be a certain age, it would be there for me. So I think no matter what you do, you have to back up that age to a point where most of us are unaffected by it because we're closer to retirement than others. So maybe you pick a younger age, 45 or 50, and everybody above that. I don't know. That's a pretty complicated question. I do know that it's failing, and it's another thing that we're facing and we need to deal with quickly. Medicare. In New York State's over half the state budget. Patrick knows that. We've lost our wiggle room because we have so much structural debt that the actual things that we can play with or work around, if you will, are almost impossible. Pensions is among them. So, there's just lots to talk about like that. But was there a second part of that?
No, I just was reading that when FDR started Social Security, and you could collect at 65, the average lifespan of a man was 58.
Yeah.
So we kind of gone away from that. You would have never collected.
When I was in Russia, alcoholism was a huge problem.
It was the whole idea.
Drink a lot of vodka.
Yeah.
His retirement age is 62, and the average life expectancy is 61.
Yeah.
So that's a good plan.
Yeah. More vodka?
It's not good for us. So that's it. Well, no, but that's what happens, isn't it, when we neglect the future, when we work in 2-year cycles and we create short-term solutions to get reelected, which is what you see the state do all the time. We give away the farm too easily, we don't negotiate well enough with the organizations we need to negotiate, and basically we abandon, not ourselves, we abandon the future. And that's what I see happening. You do it too, everybody knows the same. There's nobody here who couldn't tell you exactly what's wrong. We've all watched it unfold, yet each of us runs a successful household. I pay my bills, you pay yours. We know we don't spend more than we make. It's not rocket science.
You said earlier that you would not have voted for the stimulus bill. Would you have any ideas or philosophy on how we could actually create, have more jobs, occur in this economy, and to jumpstart
the problem with the stimulus bill was a simple one. Economists agree on a couple of basic points, and that is that infrastructure work, water bridges, all those things, sewer lines, all the things that New York State's failing. We have a big problem with that. That's the fastest way to get people to work. Yet, less than 14% of the stimulus package went to that. I think it's maybe 90 or 100 billion dollars. And incidentally, the debt on the stimulus package has gone from 787 to 8 something, 860, whatever. The number's big. The thing you have done was not let government go redecorating, because $1 to your government is worth 80 cents. If you give me $1, I'll turn it into $1.20 or anybody in this room. The multiplier effect for government spending is less than the dollar. So what they're doing is they're fixing up a lot of things that they may need to get done. But in terms of being a job creation expenditure, I'll give you an interesting, I wrote a piece on it, maybe you saw on the paper. There's a windmill farm being built in Texas. Well, $450 million of the windmills are going to be being bought from China. And so there's 2,000 jobs in China that are being created, and there are 300 jobs in Texas. So why wasn't there, just in the stimulus bill, a rationale to work around that? Buy America, we're here, this is about creating jobs, it's not about anything else. But that didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen, and Mr. Arcuri has said that he wrote a letter about that some period after that. None of these guys read this. These people, half of them are lawyers, yet they signed on to something that's that big, the biggest bill ever. And they didn't read it. Why didn't they read it? It was handed to them by the leadership, and they rubber stamped it. You know, our guy included. Why don't you just get together and say, I'm not going to pass this until at least I read it? How shameful, how embarrassing. I mean, these are lawyers. I mean, I wouldn't want to be my lawyer. They always tell you don't sign anything you don't read. But there you go.
Do you think that we're still moving a little bit towards socialism? I mean, I hate to use that word, but
yeah, I know.
Are we moving away from capitalism? And
well, when you don't build an opportunity society, and you have people that are sympathetic and empathetic, and they want everybody to feel good, want everybody to have things, and we grow kind of this entitlement mentality. The natural outcome is what you see. People with means get taxed more. People with less have higher expectations, and it's all becomes about fairness. Well, it's not about fairness. It's really about destroying the very engine and the goose that is getting that job done. I mean, people like me, Mr. Curie's accused me of buying my race. I had about $700,000 or more in my own money that I worked hard for and saved, and it's not tax deductible to run for office. But I said to him, you know, I'd rather be accused of buying a seat, which I wasn't, than selling, which I think he is. He's never put a dime in this. And it's not fair. I mean, I feel like I had over 450 employees. I started with nothing. And I did it not because I was greedy. I like to build. I like to survive. I looked around and saw opportunity and I grasped it. And sometime I figured out that I was good at it. And I was ambitious and creative. And, you know, you want to tap into that stuff. You don't want to hurt it. You don't want to tax it to the point where it doesn't exist. And you don't want to punish it. This country was built by entrepreneurs, people who, for whatever their personal reasons were, got up every morning and did something that other people were willing to pay for. You make money by producing a product. Government doesn't produce a whole lot. And people like me and Bill and others in this room, who produces a more